What's up out there, Buff Nation? Thank you for tuning in today. Today, we've got something really different, something that I did not expect at all, something that I had no clue was coming. And so hopefully you'll bear with me and we can get through this together. Now, I know you guys consume all of the Colorado content on YouTube, and there are so many good creators out there who do a phenomenal job. And so hats off to all of those guys. Whatever your favorite place to watch Colorado content is, don't say this channel. Look, I appreciate you guys that tune in. Let me know down below where you like getting your Colorado content from, and I want to go check out their channels if I haven't already. I appreciate you guys. I love this community. Let's talk about other people that we can go and support. But here's something that I don't think many of you saw, and I'm going to show you the video here in just a moment. But recently, 247 Sports had Brad Crawford on. And the reason I know that not many of you saw this is because I looked at how many views this video had. And it just wasn't very many considering 247 Sports' reach and how many people usually watch their videos. But they broke down a few things. They broke down Colorado's schedule. They broke down what they think Coach Prime and the Buffs can do this year. They broke down a lot of different angles of Colorado football. And they slid something in that I thought was pretty surprising, something I hadn't heard yet, something I wasn't aware of just yet. And I'm going to play that for you right now.
Not very friendly to the new members of the Big 12. As it pertains to Colorado, you actually wrote that Coach Prime received a few calls about some head coaching offers, but that he is happy with where he is.
Did you hear what she said there? She talked about how other coaches, Brad Crawford had reported this, but the host talked about how other programs, sorry, not coaches, were trying to poach Coach Prime. We're trying to get him away from Colorado. And Coach Prime basically gave him a Heisman and said, no thanks, I'm good. I'm staying here in Boulder. Now, there's a couple of different angles that I want to attack from this, and I want to tell you some other things that they talked about in that video, and I'll link that video in the description for sure. But the first is this. Everyone out there is trying to negative recruit Coach Prime. Everyone out there is talking about how he's not cut out for it. He's not the real deal. He's not going to be there very long. He's not going to be that kind of coach. He's not going to get you to the next level. Whatever the situation is, that is the direction that other coaches are going right now. The other programs are going right now. But how about this? Other teams were actively reaching out, and other programs, other athletic directors were actively reaching out to Coach Prime, trying to get him to come coach their team. That should make you excited as a Buffs fan to know, one, other coaches want what he's bringing. Other programs want what he's got. It should also make you excited as a Buffs fan because he told those other programs, no, thank you. No, I'm good where I'm at. We have continued to emphasize and re-emphasize again that Coach Prime means what he says. And everyone likes to twist his words, and everyone likes to take things out of context, and everyone likes to give him a hard time for this or for that or whatever. But we have been very straightforward that when Coach Prime has been asked, when people have said, where will you be? Where are you going? Would you ever go here? Cowboys this team that, all of the things. What is he, Alabama that? What does he continue to say? I'm staying in Boulder for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. Now, he's also said that when he feels like the Lord will call him somewhere else, then he'll go. But he hasn't felt that yet, and he's sticking with where he is. But despite what everyone else wants to say about where he'll end up or what he's using this job for, or how he's doing this, that, and the other, Coach Prime continues to say, I'm staying here. And I had not heard Brad Crawford report on this. I'd not seen this video until it just came out a day or two ago. But what are your thoughts? Did you catch this when it happened? Did you know about Brad Crawford's report? Did you know that 247 was going to drop this subtle bombshell? Maybe that was accidentally released. I don't know. But it impresses me that Coach Prime obviously didn't make a big deal about this. Hey, we had a bunch of coaches call. No, he took it in stride. I'm sure he was happy to get the offers. It always feels good to be wanted. And he kept coaching. He kept working. He kept doing what he's preaching to his players to do, and that is to put the effort forward that they need in the Big 12 this year to win. What else did he talk about in the video? Well, he mentioned how tough Colorado's schedule is this year. I did the schedule breakdown for you guys right when it came out. If you haven't seen that yet, it wasn't one of our more clicked on videos. If you want to get my thoughts on that, I'll share it at the end of this video, so stick around and you can click it on the screen to just check it out. But he talked about how tough the schedule was. And we may disagree here some. I don't think that everything Brad Crawford says is 100% gospel. I think there are some tough games, and it can be challenging when you look at it in January, but I really like the way that this Colorado Buffs team is going to fill out over the next several months, and I like the placement of the games. Some of the games are going to be tough, but I also expect Colorado to be a lot better this year. Coach Prime talked about it in a recent video, how a lot of their losses were just by one score. So it looks pretty bad to be 4-8, right? Like nobody likes that. But if you look at 4-8, but then you look at the fact that they lost 5 games by one score, maybe it's not so bad. They were really close. They just didn't know how to win, were Coach Prime's words. Talked about it being a very tough schedule. I still like the placement of the games. I think a lot of it works out to their advantage when and where they get to play different teams. He also talked about the offensive line being completely revamped, a brand new unit there that's going to help Colorado tremendously. He talked about Jordan Seaton, who was the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, according to their rankings, as well as several portal guys that they went out and picked up, and that unit is going to be great for the Buffs this year. He also talked about how Shedeur was going to have, his words, all day to throw behind that new offensive line. He doesn't seem to be worried about offense at all for the Buffs. He thinks that certainly could be a strength for Colorado when you look at the talent they've gotten, the upgrades at the offensive line. The talent was there last year. We've talked about this enough. I don't need to beat a dead horse on this, but the talent was there. The offense was there. I just want anybody up front blocking for them. And Coach Prime and the offensive staff and the staff really in general have rectified that. You would hope, right? You would hope that with the new offensive line and some new pieces there, you're able to get a much better result offensively. He really likes Coach Prime to improve and make a bowl, improve on that 4-win season that they had just a year ago. He said that he expects that. He expects them to be better this year, though he didn't expect as much as maybe we do. Right? He doesn't expect them to go and compete for the playoff. He doesn't necessarily expect them to go out and compete for the Big 12. And I think what the biggest thing for Brad is, he is in wait and see mode. He is in prove it to me mode. And as a national guy who doesn't cover Colorado all day, every day, like some of the people who are closer to the program and follow it more religiously, I think that's a fair take. I don't necessarily agree with him. I think Colorado can be a little bit better than he thinks. But I think being in wait-and-see mode is an okay thing to do. You don't have to necessarily buy it hook, line, and sinker like everybody who's watching this and myself are. You don't necessarily have to be a fan. It's okay as a national guy to say, I want to see you prove it to me. And when Coach Prime and the Buffs start to do that, when Coach Prime and the Buffs start to see the early success, we've talked about North Dakota State to open the year, and then Nebraska on the road, and then Colorado State on the road. If you start 3-0 this year, like you did last year, just wait. Just wait for the alarm bells and the whistles to start going off, because at that point, you're going to look at the Big 12 schedule, and you're going to look at some of those teams that you played last year close, but just couldn't get it done against, Arizona, Utah, and others. You're going to look at that and say, wait a minute. We're right back where we were last year. Did we learn anything from last year? Are we at a point now where we do know how to finish games? Are we at a point now where we do know how to close out? You went 4-8 last year, but if you had 4 or 5 one-score games, you're talking about one possession changing, you winning 8-9 games. Let me tell you something. If Coach Prime would have won 9 games last year, they would be talking about him for the playoff this year. You got to figure out how to flip that. You got to figure out how to flip those one-score losses into one-score wins. Coach Bowden, who Coach Prime played for, used to say a program is built in 4 steps. First, you lose big, then you lose small, then you win small, and then you can win big. Well, Colorado certainly lost big the year before Coach Prime got here, and then the first half of the year had some pretty bad losses in that span. But then toward the back end of the year, you started losing games small. You started losing games a lot closer. Can they get to the point where they stop losing small and start winning small? Can we get to the point where we're just figuring out how to finish? And I believe they can. I thought the 247 Sports video was very eye-opening. Again, did not expect the line about Coach Prime getting targeted by several different places, especially with all the different smack that gets talked about how good of a coach he is or isn't. But he's a wanted commodity, and I wouldn't expect that to change at all. I think more and more programs are going to want Coach Prime when they have openings, and we'll see what the Lord impresses upon his heart for him to do one way or the other. But I do appreciate the fact that he stayed true to what he has said so far in sticking it out in Boulder. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys being part of this family. Again, comment below. I want to hear what other creators you're listening to and watching and checking out. I'll go check them out too, because I really do enjoy the Colorado content space. I enjoy the takes on Coach Prime. Everybody grows together. I really like that. So let me know down in the comments. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to the prime time for college football.